In this video, I'll go over how to create the model for the 11-inch pulley. So I'll start with a sketch. And there's two parts to this sketch. Now, because we know it's circular, we know we're going to use the revolve tool. I'm going to create a horizontal axis. I'll right click that, make it into construction line. And there's two pieces. I'm going to center this about this origin instead of going from one edge. There's two pieces here. One is the hub part. Oops. Start over. This hub part, which is 1.75 wide. Now we want to center it about the origin. So I'm going to put this dimension right here. So it's 1.75 divided by 2.875. The height of that, let's see, there's a hole in the middle. So I'm going to put that. Now remember, put the radial value. It's a 1.5 inch diameter hole. So I'm going to make that dimension 0.75. And then this hub itself is a 3-inch diameter. So I've got to do half of that. Because remember, when I revolve it, it's going to double. So that's one piece. The other piece is there is a cylindrical part here, and we want to line it up there. I probably should just go ahead and put a construction line. And it needs to be a vertical line. There we go. And so I'm going to put this on the line. That is this rim of the part, and that diameter of that rim is 1 inch. So that's the full size there. And the distance from the origin to the center of that, because it's a, try that again, from the origin to the center of that. Don't know why it doesn't like that. Let's look at this for a second. So I'm going to revolve that hub, also revolve this. That's on a 10-inch diameter. We're going to go off the center of there, from the center of there to the center of the part. It's going to be 5-inch distance. So that's 5. I'm going to make that a construction line because I don't want that interfering with my geometry of my part. So I'm going to stop there. So I'll finish the sketch. Got these two pieces here. I'll go to Features, Revolve Base. Now, it's asking me for the axis, which is going to be that. And there's two areas there, so it will revolve both of them unless you deselect one. So that's the basic part of this wheel here. Now the other tricky part of that is creating the spoke. So the way we're going to do that is, let's turn some planes on here. Actually, I'm going to turn all of them on, so it's going to get a little ugly here for a minute. What I'm going to do is put a sketch over here, and then I'll extrude it to the rim and extrude it back to the hub to create one of these spokes, and then I'll do a circular pattern. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to Reference Geometry, Plane. I'll click on this plane, and I'm going to flip the direction because I want it to go this way. And I just want it to be somewhere there in the middle. Remember, that was a 5-inch radius. So what if I make that 2.5? Now, it doesn't have to be in the middle, but that works. So now I've got that plane. I'm going to turn this plane off. I'm going to sketch on this one. I'm going to leave this other plane on there, these other two for reference, and that should help me with the center of this. Okay, now let's see what this looks like. I may have to change my visualization of the part. So it's that right there. there we go. I'm going to do Control 8 to spin it around. Now I can't see what I'm doing here. So what I can do is change. I don't have to go up there. I can go over here to display style and I'm going to get a wireframe. Now I'm going to do a sketch right there. It's just a circle, and now that's going to be the diameter of the spoke. And if you look at the drawing, the diameter of the spoke, it's not the same as the hub. It's 0.75. Right, so it's definitely smaller. It should be all I need. Now look at what I have. So again, I'm in the wireframe mode, so it's a little bit trickier to see, but I've sketched this, and that's going to be one of my spokes. And that plane could be, you could take this plane and go up with it and do the same thing. I just chose to go that way to the right. Let's finish our sketch. Let's go ahead and change back to this format. And now I will go to, I just want to do an extrude. I don't have to revolve. Extrude. Click on that circle right there. And now the settings are going to be important, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to next, and that's going to go that way until it hits there. And now that's in direction 1. So you see this heading. I need to go direction 2. So click a check mark there, and I'll do the same thing. So go up to next, and then that'll take it up to this side, right? So direction 1 goes from here to here, direction 2 goes here to there. I could do it in 2 separate extrusions, but it's not necessary, right? Say OK, and there is my spoke, and it's correctly matched, mated. I'm not violating any laws of physics or anything like that. So now I have one spoke. Let's go back to our part. So what I did was generate this spoke here. Now I have 5 spokes around the circumference of that. So let's see, I can turn off, if I right click, I can turn off all these planes. It's a lot easier to see. I don't need that. You know what, I'm leaving that on for now. Let's see. So go up here to the top. We don't want a linear. I said we don't want a linear pattern. Go back to features, circular pattern. It's asking me for the features and faces. It's just that cylinder right there, and then go up where it says direction, highlight that, and then click on the center of your part, and then we need to look and see, we need 5. So in there you want to put 5 spokes, and you can sort of see the pattern showing up. And there is my wheel, right? So I revolved those 2 pieces, and then I created that plane, extruded 1, and then a circular pattern. The only piece that's left is there's a keyway in there, and that keyway is actually, let's look at this, the keyway actually is opposite of this one spoke. So it may or may not be randomly oriented, but let's assume that it needs to be opposite that one spoke. So let's turn this way, and I'm going to click on that side because that's the view that I want to see. So I need to put a keyway in there. So let's just do a new sketch right on that surface there, and that is going to be, you can just use a rectangle there. Oops, forgot to look how big that key is. It is 1 inch from the center back, and it's 3/8 tall. So I need to dimension that dimension there is 0.375. Now you need it to be centered, so click on the edge and then to that center right there, and that's going to be half of 3/8 is 3/16, which is 0.1875. That'll center that. As far as length goes, we don't really care about this part. What we care about is how long the key is. So if you go from there to the center, may have created a problem for myself. Let's see. No, we're good. That dimension was 1 inch. Again, I don't care about this extra part. You can just leave it there. I don't care about that dimension as long as it's going to cut out that material right there. So There is my sketch on that face. Finish that. Exit my sketch. Go to features. Do an extrude cut. And I need to go through all. And that creates my keyway. Right, so that looks exactly like this part, or it should at this point. Now notice a couple things. We got a front view, we got a right side view that is in fact a section view that allows us to dimension these features without them being hidden. Also, they did a detail view of this keyway because it's a little tricky to dimension. You can fit it on there certainly. Let's turn off. We'll turn off that right plane. We don't need that anymore. So let's save that. Put it in the right folder. And that's going to be 11-inch pulley. Put on a drawing sheet. And basically what we want to do is, oops, let me open that up, expand that. We want to just recreate this sheet right here. So follow that, should be fine. Let's go to our view palette, find our pulley, look for views. Now again, we kind of want to pay close attention to the orientation here. This is the one, I know it's really small, but that's the one we want for our front view. Now if we do a top view, this machine is struggling a little bit, and with our views, one thing is the scales. Well, let's talk about a couple things. Let's put the hidden lines on there. Turn the hidden lines off. Oops, turn the hidden lines off on my ISO. Scale isn't great. It's pretty small, but didn't want to do that. Let's, yikes. Let's look at the views that we have. The top view and the right side view are the same exact view. Let's just delete that one. And now that gives us room to adjust the scale of these. So if I go into my front view, let's look at the scale. Right now I have quarter scale. We can double that. Go to half scale. That looks about right. Gotta try not to crash into my title block. Except this view is terrible. All those hidden lines are no good for me. Let's just delete that view and then replace it with a section view. So go to drawing, section view, make sure it's set for a vertical section. Pull that over, and that's how we'll get that view. It should be labeled section AA. Bump this thing up a little bit. And then we can put our dimensions on there. Now the one thing which you can fit this dimension on here, the one thing that is done in this problem is that detail view. So that's really handy. It's, oops, I don't need my part model. I need my drawing. Let's go ahead and make this bigger. Now again, in particular here, I got a great place to dimension all my features that I need. I'm not dimensioning the hidden lines, but if we add that detail view, so if you go to drawing, you've got a thing called detail view. Click on that, and then just come in here and click kind of in the center of what you want to grab, and then just make a little circle, and then pull it out somewhere where you got some real estate that fits. And what it's going to do is scale it up. Now a couple things it's going to do. One is it's going to call it detail B because we have section A. You don't want to confuse the issue by having another A. You can change the scale of that if you'd like. It's a 1:1. That's of the actual part, not of this drawing. It's probably sufficient. I don't know, we could try to bump it up and do a 2:1. It's probably going to be gigantic. Yeah, that's kind of big. Let's just stick with the 1 to 1. Okay, so that's good. We got a little bit of leeway here. We can scoot. Just make sure you got, I don't have any dimensions on this. Make sure you got enough room for your dimensions. So what I can do here, now notice, it's clearly identified. Say, what the heck is this? If you look up here, you'll see that B, and this is labeled detail B. So the advantage of that is that I have a clean place to put these dimensions, right? Now, what's missing is that center. Let's see if we can put a center on there. Yeah, that's okay. Let's do this again, because I want to have that center on there. So when I do my detail B, I'll click a little bit farther over so I can grab the center. There we go. Since I got plenty of room, that looks better. Now it's going to say detail C because I just did a B. Just come in here, change it to a B, it'll match up. Okay, so there's our detail. Pull it up off there. Still didn't get the center. Let's see what I can do. There we go. Got it. Okay. So now I can dimension two things I need. The height of this keyway. And then I need to know the depth of the keyway. So that's going to be from there to there, which we know is 1 inch. Okay, so I'll leave you to put the rest of the dimensions on there and finish that up. But that's how you generate the model. A couple of new things in there, and then the drawing